How's it going? Happy 2-year anniversary. I wore my finest outfit. Okay, so I've been thinking a lot about, we're all thinking about stuff. So here's some things that have been going on. I'll give you, alright. For people who have never met me before, who's this guy Roman? What's going on with him? Here's, alright. In 1980, I was born, and it's like, there's a girl, and I was assigned female at birth. And then 27 years later, I was like, this doesn't feel right. So then I transitioned, and I went on hormones, and just that easy. Like that. Nothing else happened. Very good procedure. Overnight. Okay, so this is the backstory. So originally I was like, I don't feel like I'm a woman. I feel more like a dude. And I was like, this is these steps I can take to do this. And I felt great. And I started getting people to refer to me as he and use male pronouns and all that stuff. And I look more male now, definitely. So that's great. Yeah. But then something else happened, which I wasn't quite expecting, which is something still doesn't feel right. And the thing is, I didn't get out of one box to be put into another. And what if I don't feel like I'm one or the other? And is that possible? Of course it's possible, because I'm here. We have to be one gender or the other, and what if we're not? Like, it's, you don't really hear about that growing up. There are not a lot of, I grew up in the Bay Area too, so it's not like I was out in the middle of nowhere, but still, just this idea of having to be one thing or the other, and I feel like I've been just taught this binary, you have to be one thing or the other, and if you're not with us, you're against us. And I'm tired of that shit. Woo! Yeah! It's just it's how wars are started. This might get political, sorry. And this idea of dehumanizing people, and we're all the same. And I think it's just, there's a bunch of us, and there's not really any them. Because if I take my friends, and they take their friends, and their friends, and their friends, and their friends, eventually it's going to be the whole world, right? So if we're all friends with each other, then why are we fighting each other? I don't know. Another thing I've been thinking about, I like performing, I like connecting with people, and blah, blah. And I do so well with my words, my vocabulary. I love doing comedy because it's great to make people laugh and all that stuff, but a lot of times comedy comes at the expense of others, I feel, where it's like, I'm going to make fun of this group, or make fun of myself, and that's I do that all the time. But I'm wondering if there can be comedy that isn't at the expense of somebody. Is that possible? It's not, can people be at peace and make someone laugh and have it not be based on tragedy or be laughing at somebody? Because I think that would be pretty awesome. It might not be that funny though. I don't know. That's one goal I kind of have. We'll see what happens. So a few quick stories. Long story short, I knew someone who knows someone. I end up meeting with Chuck Schumer, the senator. He wanted to meet with some trans folks about trans issues. And we all had to submit a bio and everything, and he was going around the room asking us questions. And I said I was genderqueer, which means I don't identify as one gender or the other. And I use male pronouns because it's taken people enough time to start calling me, use male pronouns. I don't want to be use they. I'm not, whatever. Call me whatever. That's another thing. At this point, however you see me, whatever makes you love me the most. If you're a dude and you're I really like chicks, but I'm attracted to this person. Whatever, man. I don't care. You know what? See me however you want to see me. I just want love. Back to fucking Schumer. Whatever. He's a good guy. I'm not into politics and politicians, and I don't trust the government. But getting back to this dude. So he's asking questions, and he's like, so you're genderqueer, you don't identify as male, female, And I was saying how we have to pretty much choose one or the other in life. And what if, and that's true for a lot of things, if just one or the other, and what if there's a third option or more options? And I think the world would be a lot more awesome if we just gave ourselves more options and more leeway to be whoever we wanted to be, regardless of what other people think, and regardless of if other people have done that before. I didn't say it like that. I was just ooh, whatever you say. Can I ask you a personal question? And I'm like, sure. I go on stage, talk about my junk, so okay. So he asks me, who are you interested in? And I was like, what what did I do in my life where I get to the point where a senator, he's the third-ranking Democrat in the country, is asking me who I want to bang. I don't have a job. I'm like, I don't have any prospects. I just like hanging out with my friends. He's asking me who I want to sleep with. So that was pretty cool. So then I'm like, oh, well, I'm pansexual. And he was like, what's that? I talked to a senator about sex. So I find myself attracted to people regardless of their gender. And he's like, oh, so you mean bisexual? And he also wasn't talking like a surfer dude like I am. How did I say that? Anyway, so surfer dude. Well, bisexual, bi means two, that there's two genders, and I feel like there's more than two genders because I'm one of the people who's not one of the other genders. And he was like, oh, okay, interesting. And it was really weird. It's like, how did this happen? So that was pretty great. Moving along, I joined a gym, and my old gym I started showering in the men's room because I'm more closer to that side because we got to be on one side or the other. So, well, we all can't be one people together. We got to split each other up, so we're afraid of each other. No one questions anything. It makes me really sad. But anyway, so I'm showering in the locker room now, and my old gym had private showers, which was great because, there's a curtain and no one really sees me. But the new gym I'm at has like big, showers like they have in jail where it's like an open space. Their dicks hanging out, and like I haven't had bottom surgery, so I don't have a dick. It's all good, whatever. But I'm like, this is going to be interesting. And maybe I have death wish or I'm just bored. But I also want to fucking shower. Everyone has the right to shower. Anyway, so I've got 4 different Parks and Rec gyms, and I've been showering in all of them. And so far, no one said anything, which makes me wonder if someone with a vagina like me can shower in the men's locker room and be safe. Why can't we have one big locker room for everybody? And I know this is like maybe down the road and stuff, and safety issues, and I totally understand. But that would be like my dream, is that for everyone to be together instead of separate. And I went to one of the showers. Every time I go to a different one, it's like I'm like, oh, a new adventure. How is this shower? And I went to one and they didn't have a towel rack nearby, and I'm like, this is not good. Because at least with the towel, I can just be in the corner and they can see my butt or whatever, and it's not a big deal. But one didn't have like a thing to hang your towel on, and I was like, oh no. So I carried my towel with me, and this big dude was like, oh, it's okay, no one's going to take your stuff. And I was like, I'm not worried about that. Anyway, it's fine, and I'm here, obviously, which I guess I'll do the final point. I worry about stuff a lot, and I get paranoid and all this stuff, and I regret things. But the thing is that everyone here right now, we've all, speaking for myself, even though I've done things that maybe I was embarrassed by or ashamed of, it's all been the right decision because I'm alive right now. And if anything had been different, there's no guarantee that I'd be alive and be healthy. So I try to keep that in perspective. Like every time I feel sad or like, oh, I wish I'd done something else, because everything I've done has been to survive. And even if it was maybe silly or scary, it was the right decision. So, and that's true for everyone, obviously, because we're all here, and I'm really happy to be here with everybody. And because I haven't been hit riding on my bike or attacked in the locker room yet, I decided to do something else that scares me, and I'm going down to the Deep South to do some community organizing with queer kids down there for about a month and a half. So I'm looking forward to it and hopefully bring back some stories for everybody. So thanks very much.